News Radio 840 WHAS. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Coming up on today's Louisville Real Estate Show. Can a handshake contract stand up in court? Also, if you're buying a home with a VA loan, could a bad inspection blow up your purchase plans? And we've got tips to help you keep your items for holiday decorations safe from thieves. Hi, everybody. Bob Sokoler, owner of the Sokoler team, Remax Properties. Thank you for joining us on this Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Hope it was a great Thanksgiving for you and your turkey turned out well. I use a big green egg and smoked two this past Thursday, so mine did well. With us for this next half hour up until the top of the hour, Chuck Crosby. He is the owner of the Crosby Law Offices. They do a great job of real estate closings, wills, powers of attorney, foreclosure defense, commissioner sale, and more. You can reach Chuck for just about all of your legal needs because Chuck says if he doesn't do it, he knows somebody who does. 499-6360. Also here, Randy Rocky. He's one of the head guys over at Swan Financial. They do an amazing job of shopping the loan to get you the best rates. And in this environment, you want the very best rates. You can reach Randy anytime at 645-0736. And if you are thinking of selling or buying a home, I would love to help you. I've got a team of agents that will help on the buy side. On the sell side, it's me. Call me, free, no obligation. I come out, we talk about what the process might be, come up with a value of what the home might look like, and we move forward if you want, or we just put it on the back burner until you're ready. You can reach me anytime on my cell phone, even this holiday weekend, 376-5483, or go to bobsellslouisville.com, fill out the form, hit submit, it'll come to me. Or if you'd like an instant analysis right now or after the show of what your home is worth, go to WeSellLouisville.com, click at the top of the page, and that will give you a computerized estimate of what the home is worth. All right, gentlemen, happy Thanksgiving. Everybody's turkey turned out okay? Chuck?
Yeah. Yep. Good. I took, I take great pains with my turkey, all three of them.
You bake it, you fry it, you deep broil it? What do you do?
Well, I sous vide, i.e. confit the legs and thighs, and then I'll brown those up in the oven, duck fat confit. And then with the breasts, I remove them from the bones. I put them head to toe, roll them back up in their skin as a ballotine, and then I'll roast those until they are crispy and juicy and perfection.
Wonderful.
It does sound like we all missed an amazing, right?
I love turkey.
Ours, yeah, we just do ours in cheesecloth and put wine in it. I mean, that's just what.
But as long as everybody turned out well.
Yeah.
All right. You can see a rebroadcast of the Today Show and actually try to figure out exactly what Chuck did with his turkey by going to LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's LouisvilleAnswers.com. It's a rebroadcast to our YouTube channel where this show and other shows and questions reside. All right, gents. First question for Chuck Crosby at the Crosby Law Office. Hannah had an agreement with the owner of a home she is renting, and the agreement apparently was after 3 years of renting, she could buy the home for $250,000. The communication was done both verbally, basically as a handshake, and by text. Now the owner of the home is saying that Hannah's going to have to pay $300,000 if she wants to buy the home. And so now Hannah's wondering in this email she sent to us, bob@WeSellLouisville.com, if she takes the owner to court, will the texts be good enough to prove that she had an agreement to buy for $250,000? Chuck Crosby.
Now, I know with some realtors, texting and whatnot is to be, it can be accepted. But in a case like this, I think it's a straight up statute of frauds question. Has to be in writing, has to have all of the terms and then signed by all parties to be bound. I don't know how you actually get there with a text. Hugs and handshakes with real estate just don't work.
And yet, we are told by our broker and peers and commission that keep all text because it could help you to verify.
It can help. There is help. The question is, did I send you the text or did my wife, who knows my password and got in there as well? Also, you're still getting a signed contract, right?
Yeah.
The other items are kind of to explain those items. They're what we call in the legal world parole evidence. Can you use it? Well, in the case of fraud, yeah.
Yep, they make good points, which it should be also an alert to all agents who are listening to our show. You take the texts if you have them, but getting it in writing with signatures, and also probably the best thing to do, right?
Yeah, short pencil's better than a long memory any day of the week.
Yeah.
How are you going to prove it? Okay.
Yep, those Chuckisms. We should write a book on the Chuck. Don't you
We
think?
should.
I know. Our favorite is the radiator nacho.
You know, some friends of mine and I went and spent the night at Waverly Hills.
Yeah.
Doing all the crazy ghost stuff and whatnot. And there was one room where there was this radiator, and it clearly had lead-based paint, and they were all, in triangular chips, just like that. It was radiator nachos. So I offered some to all my guests.
Very good. And did you find any ghosts? More importantly,
no.
Okay.
Even the dead don't like to hang out with lawyers.
All right. If you're an attorney,
We're on the road today.
Yeah, he
had
really
a big
is.
Thanksgiving.
If you're an attorney and you take exception with what Chuck just said, you can give him a call. I'll give you his phone number a little later.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, do not give us a call on that. If you want to see what folks are saying about us, because we're really proud, I have to tell you, of our reviews, go to LouisvilleZillow.com or LouisvilleGoogle.com to read our reviews. All right, Brendy, Rocky, Swan Financial, Sammy, buying a home with a VA loan. The home that he has a contract on had a very bad inspection. Problems with cracks in the foundation, water coming in, problems with wood rot, peeling paint, sloping floors, and he says a whole lot more. In the email he sent us, the structural inspection indicated that there was water coming down a hill, hitting the house, and the home needs some sort of French drain to get rid of the water. Okay, so that gives you an idea of how serious the problems are. So Sammy's agent has told him VA probably won't approve the home on their appraisal. But Sammy's wondering, will they? What do they really look for? Any workaround to be able to buy the house?
Yep.
He says, we're moving here from another state and really wanted to buy this house. Randy Rock.
Yes, so you can get an appraisal done, and then they will assess it and tell you if an appraisal is not a home inspection.
Mm-hmm.
But there are certain things they can go by. So if there's if there are windows that are not painted, if there's drywall missing, if the plumbing's not working correctly, when they turn on the faucets, then yes, that will be noted in an appraisal. But so to speak, a deep clean is done by the home inspector, and so all I can tell him to do is order the appraisal and see what the appraiser comes back with, and go from there.
So this is a serious problem. I can tell you, and I don't know if there's a 3-strike rule where if a VA appraiser sees a house and if there are 1, 2, or 3 items, they don't allow the home to close because they're representing the government on this thing. But I can tell you in the past, things as simple and easy to fix as peeling paint has blown up a VA deal. Am I right, Randy?
Yeah, absolutely. And you just have to get it repaired. And, everything's an opinion, even on a home inspection. So I think it's best is to get the appraisal done. If they still want to buy the house and they feel comfortable the house they think it's solid, then after all that, then that's what I would suggest they do.
All right, so let me bring Chuck Crosby into this because Sammy asks for a workaround. I've got one in thinking about this. But Chuck, I want you to give your wise words of opinion on this because it's not a traditional workaround and there's risk associated with this. My suggestion is if you can get through a repair request and the seller is doing some things but not everything, and the appraiser comes in and says, nope, I'm not passing this because of let's just use the paint as an issue, but it could be a lot of other things, peeling paint. So my suggestion would be, Sammy, if the seller refuses to do any of this and you want to move on with the house, you might just consider doing the repairs yourself. That means either your sweat equity going out there with the seller's permission, of course, and putting a coat of paint and or putting money into repairs prior to closing, and then the appraiser gets called back out again to reevaluate the home to make sure it met the appraisal standards, right? Mm-hmm. So Chuck, explain. There's a major risk here because the whole thing could fall apart right before closing, right?
It could, and I think there are also restrictions as to what the buyer can do. Now, I hadn't heard, I can't lay my finger on anything about them coming in and doing painting themselves, but where they're putting money into it, I think that's not allowed.
No, it is not allowed.
Yeah,
And
that's
I don't know, and I should know, if for sure if you can go in and do sweat equity. I just
yeah.
don't. I don't.
I don't
I'm
know
not
that
for
you
sure.
can do it and get any kind of remuneration or reimbursement for it.
Oh no, you
Um,
definitely can't do
Yeah,
that. You are
definitely can't
correct.
do that. But
No,
if you just
no.
went in and said, "Hey, it's my buddy. I'm going to help him paint today," gee, I don't know. That still runs pretty close.
I'm just saying because this happens. Not
I
that we've
know.
done this, but I'm just
Oh,
saying.
I know. I've seen it, and I've
Yeah.
seen it blow up.
Oh, right.
And I had one of the parties come into my office wanting to, the buyer side wanting to sue the seller and say, "Hey, I want my money back."
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
the result was you can't, my opinion was you can't go to court and claim money back when you were
Yeah.
fraudulently acting in doing so. It's like, wait a minute, there's dirty hands everywhere here.
Right.
So it did blow up. I don't think you're supposed to do it that way.
Okay. We've said that, and all I'm simply saying is, if Sammy was to do some of the work with the buyer, with the seller's approval on the side, like for example, one thing I remember, we had a house where there were some dirty gutters. They were full
Yeah,
of
I
leaves.
understand.
Seller refused to do anything. And so somehow there was some sort of communication where the buyer was allowed to go over there and clean the gutters. VA inspector or appraiser was called back. House sold. Closed.
Yeah. Now, as long as there's no money changing hands,
Right. And that's where I'm going with
that's
this. Okay. Yeah.
that's where I'm getting a little. I can't
All right.
say that it is allowable because there's still a benefit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the underwriters would have a heyday with that, not just the appraiser.
Yes.
I think it kind of like in your Venn diagram here, you've got your appraisal. Now he may be satisfied, but that doesn't mean that the underwriter is going to look back at that and go, "Hey, wait a minute, everything's cool." And if you're keeping it from the underwriter, just the whole concept of keeping something from an underwriter immediately makes it smell like you're committing fraud.
Right.
And the thing
Right.
is, with loans, especially VA loans, if there's any kind, it's a felony. I mean,
You're asking for trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, you're really asking for trouble.
Yeah. All right.
Now, if there's no money changing hands and somebody just cleans out the gutter, maybe, but I would disclose it to the lender, and I realize this is done, but because it's done doesn't make it right. I remember prior to the crash in '08, late '07, I'd get lenders talking to me about soft seconds. Oh, we do soft seconds every day and twice on Sunday. And it's like, okay, I understand that. I acknowledge that you all do that, but A, I'm not going to do it, and B, just because everybody's doing it doesn't make it right.
One line. What is a soft second?
A soft second is where you create, where you have a first mortgage, say for 80%,
Right. Yeah.
and then you do another mortgage for 20%. And keep in mind that in that day and age, they were going for more than 20%, so that the house was upside down automatically.
Right.
But then that mortgage never was actually paid, and then somewhere down the line, it would get a release, and yeah, just straight up fraud.
Okay. And now we know what that was. We are going to take a break. By the way, if you are thinking about selling your home, you might want to just send me an email. We have a free no obligation booklet that has hundreds of useful tips. For a copy, send an email to bob@wesellouisville.com and put selling tips in the subject line. When we come back, 10 ways to keep thieves from stealing your holiday yard decorations. This is a thing. Yeah, right? I'm looking at you, Chuck. You were about to, yeah.
Not a thing for me. My wife is the original Ebenezer Scrooge.
Okay, no yard decorations for Chuck. Well, okay, when we come back. But meanwhile, staying with us, Chuck Crosby Law Offices does a phenomenal job getting your home loan closed. Also does wills, so important, powers of attorney, foreclosure defense, commissioner sales. You can reach Chuck at 499-6360. Randy Rocky, one of the head guys at Swan Financial, they shop the loan, get you the best rate. That's what you want. And very reliable. 645-0736. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the near future, or even next year or beyond, I'd love to help you. I work in both Kentucky and Southern Indiana. There's no home too big, no home too small. You can reach me anytime, 376-5483, or go to bobsellslouisville.com, or go to wesellouisville.com and fill out the form at the top. You'll get a computerized estimate of your home's value immediately. We're back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS. Hope your Thanksgiving get-together and family and food was great. Thank you, Barbara Corcoran. I know she had a good Thanksgiving family dinner. She always does. She's a great leader. Thank you for being a mentor, and you can see her on Shark Tank, and for endorsing us. Continuing with us, Randy Rocky, one of the head guys, Swan Financial. They shop the loan. They get you the best rates. You can reach Randy, 645-0736. Also, continuing with us, Chuck Crosby. He's one of the head guy at Crosby Law Offices. They do a great job of real estate closings, and you can pick the closing attorney that you want. And Chuck is one of the tops in the city. We highly recommend him. He does wills, powers of attorney, foreclosure defense, commissioner sales. And if he doesn't do it, he knows somebody who does. You can reach Chuck at 499-6360. And if you're thinking of selling now or in the future, I would love to be able to help you. You can call me anytime on my cell phone, 502-376-5483. Go to bobsellslouisville.com, fill out the form there, and hit submit. There's no home too big, no home too small, both in Kentucky and Southern Indiana, and I'd love to be able to help you. You could also get a free estimate of what your home is worth via computer. Immediately go to wesellouisville.com and click on the what's your home worth at the top of the page. So every so often, some cold-hearted Scrooges rain on everyone's parade by helping themselves to holiday decorations. I tell you, I just a couple of 4 months or so ago bought a house with wife LaDonna in Norton Commons, and we drive through there nightly with her mom Betty and going to dinner and going out, and we're amazed during the holiday season just how many people are decorating their homes. And let's face it, it's just now really getting into the Christmas, but the Halloween was amazing, the amount of decorations. And we put out one decoration and was worried, will someone take it? I think everybody worries about it around the city, and you're doing this. So I did a little research. Okay, so one of the suggestions is to use heavy items outside. Okay, I'm not so sure about this. The heavier and bulkier an item, the harder it's going to be for a thief to grab it as he walks by or stuff into the trunk of a compact car. Okay, so good luck on that one. But also secure with landscaping staples or wedges, things that will hold it down. Like the thing I've got has got these big stakes that are holding the whole thing down into the ground, which not only keep it from blowing away, but at the same time make it a little more difficult to remove. You can keep motion lights functional pointed at this, so in the event at night someone comes up there, light pops on it and could scare the thief. You can use zip ties or duct tape, probably not so much duct tape, but zip ties definitely, yeah, to go ahead and hold it to the house or to a shrub. You can anchor it. This was kind of unusual with rebar. That's the stuff they put in concrete to make it stronger, but you can put some rebar into the ground with a kind of a mallet and then fashion some sort of attachment to the item so it can't be easily yanked away. There's a lot of little things. Chained items to trees, keep decorations from the street so it makes it less inviting for a thief to just jump out and grab it. Shut it down overnight so at night no lights aren't on, so they're not going to see it. Use cameras and security system that will keep an eye on it. And you can also, and I'm not so sure, this was this last suggestion, request additional patrols from local police. I'm not so sure they're coming out to keep an eye on your decorations. But, we keep hearing about porch pirates taking your Amazon gifts and things like deliveries. This could happen too. So just keep an eye. Those are some suggestions that might be able to help you in the event that you've got a potential problem in your neighborhood and you want to keep something from happening. We go now. Questions coming in. Bob at wesellouisville.com. Chuck Crosby. This is from Jamie. It's a quick one, but an interesting one. Jamie wants to know if she files bankruptcy and then goes to sell her home, will it affect the sale of her home? Your thoughts on that?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of like probate. Everybody knows about probate. You die, you have a will, you have an executor, or you die, you don't have a will, you have an administrator. Same thing with bankruptcy. You financially died. Now there's a trustee in bankruptcy. The idea is you're going to have to get permission from the court to sell anything. Okay.
Mm.
It's doable.
Mhm.
I've seen it done. We've done it. But it depends on the type of bankruptcy you're in as to what process you go, if it's 13 or if it's Chapter 7. Plus, you also have to realize that just because you file the bankruptcy doesn't make all that debt go away. If you have a piece of real estate, bankruptcy only relieves your personal liability unless there's a specific order that says it also relieves the or releases the liens against the property. So, if you're selling your house, bankruptcy kind of makes it harder. But there's other reasons why you would file bankruptcy.
Yeah. All right. Well, we wish you luck on that. We move on to Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. It's tax time again, Randy, and you may want to jump in on this as well, on Chuck. Connor sent us an email because a friend of his last year received a bill from the city that his mortgage servicer did not pay this friend's taxes. He says his friend knows for sure that the money had been escrowed and the bank was supposed to pay the taxes. Connor is wondering if that could happen to him. How does he check to make sure his taxes are being paid by his mortgage company? I'll throw this up either Randy or Chuck. Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just go to the sheriff's website, and it'll indicate what tax bill is paid, and it used to, it would give a code as to what mortgage company paid it. I don't believe they do that on the website anymore, but you can just call up the sheriff, and they'll be able to tell you who paid the tax bill.
So just out of curiosity, it's easy for me as a real estate agent to go on the county PVA and click on the sheriff's website and look for taxes. But can the consumer go to a specific website? Is there one that they do? Yeah, they do. Okay, so there is
you go
available.
to the sheriff's website. Just go to Google Jefferson County, Kentucky Sheriff. You'll go to the website. On the front page, it'll show where to go to check out the taxes. You click on that. It'll pull up a little screen. You put the address down. Click go, and then you can make the screen bigger so you can see it, and you've got all the information right there. Plus, there's also other interesting things on the sheriff's website too, for anybody that likes to poke around into that sort of thing, like all the personal service. You know how the sheriff goes out and hands out lawsuits?
Yeah.
They have them listed for a lot of years.
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
Easily searched. It's just kind of interesting.
So a reminder, we're coming now here we are December. It might be worth it if you got a house or condo or an office that you own. It might be worth it going ahead and at least looking to make sure your bank has paid, because the discounts are apply until the beginning of the year. Yeah.
And there's a cause of action against a lender who has an escrow and they're using the money, but they're not using it for what you're supposed to. It was back in the early 2000s, I think it was, late 90s. Certain large banks in this neck of the woods were charging incredibly huge amounts of escrows and holding it. It's where we got the pay what is necessary for an escrow plus a 2-month cushion. They were holding like 2 years worth of cushion.
Okay.
And there's all kinds of rules and regulations relating to that.
Got that out of the way. All right. By the way, if you want to see what the future of photography looks like, head to Louisville3D.com and see what we do with our 3D photos. It's impressive. We think we're the leaders in that. You can see it at Louisville3D.com. Last question, Randy Rocky. David says he is selling his home. He has a VA appraisal, but it came in low, and the deal fell apart. And FHA buyer came in next, and the home appraised for value. So David's question says, what the heck's going on? Why don't appraisals all come in at the same value?
Just like we talked about before with the condition of the house, it's all an opinion. So
I thought it was voodoo.
Yeah. So it's the same thing with an appraisal. Appraisal is an opinion. I mean, they're usually within 2 to 3%, all of them, but there are different appraisers that have different opinions of what a value of a house is. Maybe because they looked at a comp that another appraiser didn't look at, and they had the value because of that. There are several factors, but appraisals can move as much as 2 to 3%. Realistically, every once in a while, it gets a little bit more than that, but that's kind of where you can.
Yeah, and what if somebody, what if 2 or 3 houses in the neighborhood sold?
Yeah,
right afterwards.
Right afterwards.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's a toss of the dice. And I remember being involved in a lawsuit and had an appraiser up as a witness, and they went through this entire process. Oh, we have this algorithm, this formula we use, and it's all math and this, that, and the other. And then we step back and we go, what do we think it's worth? So, I mean, it's like, it's pretty subjective.
It is. And one quick tip as we end the show is if you're a buyer and you really want the house and the appraisal was undervalued and you're using a conventional loan, you could always go to another lender and get another mortgage taken out and applied, and you have to pay another fee, an appraisal fee.
Right.
But there's a roll of the dice. The next appraiser may come in with a higher value. You just never know.
Yeah. That's correct.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, we hope you had a great Thanksgiving. We're out of time. My thanks, of course, to Chuck Crosby, who is the owner of the Crosby Law Offices. They do a great job at real estate closings, and you can pick the closing attorney that you want. Chuck is the tops in the city. He also does wills, and he does a variety of other things. You can reach Chuck anytime at 499-6360. Also, our thanks to Randy Rocky, who is one of the head guys at Swan Financial. They shop the loan, they get you the best rate, and they are reliable. I can tell you that from my own personal experience. You can reach Randy at 645-0736. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the future, I would love to talk to you, even if it's just by phone. But I'd love to come out, we talk, we review, we walk through the house, stage this, don't do that, repair this, don't do that. And it's free. There's no obligation. We talk about it. If you want to move forward, great. If not, no problem. No home too big, no home too small. Louisville, Southern Indiana, and surrounding area of Louisville. Call me 376-5483 or go to bobsellslouisville.com, fill out the form and hit submit. And for an instant analysis of what your home is worth by computer, go to wesellouisville.com. Gentlemen, thank you for being with us today. My thanks to all of you listening to us, and we really do hope that's a great rest of your Thanksgiving weekend. We'll see you next Sunday on News Radio 840 WHAS.